Thanks for listening to Dog Dish. Before we start, we'd like to say thanks to our sponsors. Porter's Pride is a raw, premium pet food with meats and vegetables locally sourced in the Pacific Northwest. Porter's Pride will ensure freedom from allergies, healthy weight loss, an increase in energy, and a reduction in the amount of stool produced. Find out more, check out Porter's Pride at porterspriderawdiet.com. That's porterspriderawdiet.com. And thanks to Addiction Pet Foods, they offer a complete range of cutting-edge foods that provide the most advanced hyperallergenic nutrition for dogs and cats around the world. Addiction is proud to have innovated the concept of using premium proteins such as free-range venison, salmon, kangaroo, and brushtail. Addiction Pet Foods. We go to the ends of the earth for your pets.
And thank you to our newest sponsor, Manning & Associates, not your typical accounting firm. For the last 13 years, Manning & Associates has supported our local community with general, forensic, and tax accounting to individuals and businesses. Located at the corner of North 26th and Proctor Streets in Tacoma, Manning & Associates takes the stress out of your day-to-day accounting and allows you to sleep better at night. Call them today at 253-752-3920 and mention this ad and get 15% off your 2016 tax preparation. Manning & Associates, not your typical accounting firm.
I'm Deborah Rosen. For the past 15 years, as founder and owner of Good Citizen Dog, I've been helping people to train their dogs using the science of canine behavior. What I'm going to do is help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, I'm Dina. I'm producing Dog Dish with Deborah. I've been training dogs for over 10 years with the Good Citizen philosophy, and together we will help you create peaceful living with your dog. Hey, Deborah.
Hey, Dina.
How's it going?
Good. Very good.
Excellent. So we actually were just working on a podcast for separation anxiety, and we decided for it to be a two-parter. So this is part two.
Part two.
And what we wanted to bring up for folks was what happens if you have a dog that you've just rescued or is an older dog and not a puppy. Our first podcast was about separation anxiety not getting developed by taking the proper steps as a puppy.
Avoiding it, yeah.
So what happens when a dog has separation anxiety and now you have to deal with it?
Right. And folks, if you're tuning in and you haven't listened to the separation anxiety part 1, we would suggest that you do that because there is quite a bit of really good information in that podcast that will inform you and make this podcast even better for you.
That's right. And also the crate training one, since that one specifically deals with puppies. And that would be a really great additional bit of information that will lend into this one as well.
True that. So folks, let's say you go out, you get yourself just the loveliest rescue dog. Could be anywhere from a year to, God knows, maybe even 8 or 9 or 10 years old. You're one of those wonderful folks that help out with senior dogs that, for whatever reason, find themselves without their original owner. Now, you've heard nothing about their background. You know very little about their behavioral history, and you come to find out that they have the inability to stay on their own without becoming really anxious, really, really destructive, and any number of other things. Like Rodney, Dina.
Oh, yes.
Do you know Rodney?
I do.
Rodney is the loveliest, loveliest dog. He is some kind of hound mix. And he's black and white, and anytime anyone he likes comes around, do you want to hear what he does?
Yes.
He goes...
He vocalizes his love.
He does, and it sounds just like that.
That's awesome.
I pride myself on my Rodney imitation.
I love it.
Well, I got a call from his owners, and his female owner is a vet tech for a feline veterinary practice, but they love dogs too, so they like them both. And his dad is an attorney, a very good attorney. His name is Tom Ozinski, and he's now our attorney. And one of the reasons is because we have to take care of Rodney every single day because he has severe separation anxiety.
Oh, poor Rodney.
I know. And he
And
has
it's
actually...
not his fault.
No, it isn't his fault. And they got him as an older dog, and he will literally jump out of windows to try to get closer to his wherever he perceives his owners might be. And he did that out of a second floor window in their private home, and he did hurt himself. He luckily didn't hurt himself badly, but so one of the things we talked about when I met with Tom and Chris, his wife, is that dogs get used to a certain predictable routine.
They're so habitual.
They
It's
are
unreal.
It's classical conditioning.
Oh my gosh.
They make associations, Dina. So every time you pick up your keys, put on your shoes, we start these routines that because
it's always the pants. I've always had the take them out for a walk pair of pants. So as soon as the drawer opens,
it's funny that you say that because my first dog Oliver,
Yeah.
he had me at the sock drawer.
he had you in the sock drawer.
At the sock drawer.
Yeah. I've had 3 dogs so far, and they've all had me at pulling out the drawer for the pants. I've had
Wow.
to take them for a walk pair of pants, and they know.
You must be so predictable.
Oh, I'm worse than they are, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the deal. We are, as a species, humans are very routine driven. And it's for a good reason. I mean, we have a lot on our plates and we have to have our daily routine or else we get bogged down. So you do the thing that you do. And by doing this, you're announcing to the dog, even before you're leaving, that you're leaving. And so they start getting amped up even before they need to.
So you're having coffee in the morning at the same time, you're curling your hair or whatever you're doing, they know this is the routine to precipitate your leaving them.
Right, because on Saturdays when you don't curl your hair, because you're not going to work, they know you're not leaving, so they don't get upset. I mean, this is how well conditioned our dogs are. So the ones with separation anxiety, Dina, are the ones that they just can't be left alone over a certain period of time. And some of them do good, like Rodney does okay for about an hour.
Oh, okay.
Maybe an hour and a half.
And then he's reached his limit.
That's it. He starts flipping out. Okay. So the one thing I will say is, if you've got a full-blown case of separation anxiety, this podcast isn't going to solve that for you. You need to go get a behaviorist or a really good trainer, someone who has deep experience dealing with this particular issue and has the training and understanding of how to resolve it. And I will tell you, with all of my experience, I've resolved a few of these cases, but there have been a few I haven't been able to touch.
In all due respect to training and everything we're trying to do here, sometimes it's just a better match to put them with somebody who can have them with them all day.
Yeah. And I have helped people rehome dogs with severe separation anxiety as well. Mm-hmm. And so those dogs would be good for people who are retired, who are seniors, who are perhaps restricted in terms of their ability to get around. And folks, I have to tell you, Rodney in particular is probably one of the smartest dogs I've ever met, mm-hmm. and the most trainable. Mm-hmm. He can be a service dog to someone. So one of these kinds of dogs who can't be without their owner, how about having an owner who can't be without them?
Exactly. I love that.
I love that idea. Yeah.
And not only that, you're right about the next step is that a lot of times these dogs with these behaviors are so smart that they need that job. And while they're also trying to get to us, they're trying to work. And we're the source of them getting something to do.
Correct. So here's the thing, folks. And let's say you don't have a really aggravated case of this. You've got a case of it where the dog is okay maybe for a couple of hours on his own or for an hour, but no more. So this is the process that I learned. And it goes as follows. You need to DQ or deprogram your dog from all of these cues that you're giving them already by just doing what you do, that you're going to be leaving even before you leave. All right. So you need to mix them up. In other words, you need to take your keys and then don't go anywhere. All right. Put on your shoes and don't leave. Or, take your coat off and then leave.
Wear your dog park pants in the house.
Right. Okay. So, we're joking about this, but this is very serious stuff. You need to tell the dog that what they think they know, they in fact don't. Mm-hmm. so that you're mixing them up, and now you start doing the hierarchy, the departure hierarchy, where you're leaving for very specific discrete periods of time. And again, when you leave, you're not saying anything to them. When you come back, you're not saying anything to them, so that you don't tell them that your life as you know it depends on me and my presence in it.
What would you say to them about any rewards around this situation?
The reward is that,
Are we popping treats? Are we leaving them with things to do with these short bursts? Are we trying to just get them to hang?
I think that over time you can get a dog with a minor case of separation anxiety to redirect or refocus its energy. With a dog that's that upset, you're never going to get it to focus on anything other than being upset.
Oh, so treats, maybe not taking them and that type of thing. Not going to chew on something in the crate. We're just going to pant and okay.
Yeah. The dogs that have it that bad are the dogs that have to go to dog daycare and have to be attended to. And maybe at dog daycare, they can start getting a better sense of well-being. The funny thing about separation anxiety, Dina, is that it's sort of like if anybody knows reactive attachment disorder in children. And very often, and this is completely out of my league, folks, so I'm not trying to be a psychologist, but there are some parallels to this. What you have to do is take a dog that has been rehomed several times and is already nervous that it's going to happen again, and just allow time to go by where you're really dedicated to helping the dog understand that this and yours is its forever home. The easy answer is time will heal this, but what will heal it even more is by doing some of these things that we've told you to do. Not saying anything to them when you come and go, deprogramming them with the different things that you do that tell them in advance that you're leaving and then don't leave, or just reversing all these different patterns that you've developed that tell them these things, and then really setting up this hierarchy so that you start leaving and coming back and reaffirming for them that they're still okay. Really, one of the things I used to do with my dogs, and people would look at me like I was nuts, is I would just never address my dogs when I came home, and not for at least 5 or so minutes. It seemed cruel on the surface, but it was for them. It was for their well-being. By not saying anything to them when I first got home, I helped them understand that their life does not depend on my particular presence.
I love that.
Which is ironic, because here I am, I'm a dog trainer. My life is dedicated to dogs. I can't live without having a dog in my life. Yet, when I come home, I have to discipline myself not to say anything to them.
And I think that's very valuable. And one thing I think people don't realize in the way that dogs' brains work is that it doesn't necessarily matter to the dog. They get used to what is. So your love, as long as it's consistent and kind, even if it isn't overt, is still going to be very acceptable to them.
That's exactly right, Dina. That's exactly right. And folks, this is a huge subject and a really difficult problem. And tackling it in a podcast is difficult at best. But what we want you to know is that there are many dogs that have this, and there are different levels or degrees to which they suffer. And so if you have a dog that has just sort of a mild case of this, you can do some of these things and make a pretty big impact on it pretty quickly. And that is not to say that you shouldn't reach out for a professional to help you, because you really should.
And you don't want to make the wrong associations in trying to help your dog out of an issue. So I think it's a really good idea to have professional help along the way to give you that knowledge.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Well, this has been Dog Dish. And we have covered the issue of separation anxiety, part 2.
That's right. And folks, anything you're going to do to care for your dog in any situation is going to make that situation better.
That's right. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Dina.
Thanks, Deborah.
For 15 years, Good Citizen Dog has been the premier destination for dog training, dog daycare, dog boarding, and grooming services. Good Citizen uses the most modern, positive, reward-based training techniques. With our 2 locations in Western Washington and across the country, Good Citizen Dog is creating peaceful living with your dog. For more information about services or for franchise information, go to goodcitizendog.com. That's citizen with a Z. Or call 855-936-3649. That's 855-936-3649. 4949.